Hello, I'm Michael Bybee. Since 1955, the award-winning Houston Grand Opera has grown into an internationally renowned opera company. Joining us today is Artistic and Music Director, Mr. Patrick Summers. Patrick, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Michael. Nice to be here.
So we're hearing about opera companies around the U.S. closing their doors, shutting down, yet the Houston Grand Opera is adding performances, growing. Why is that?
I'm very proud, Michael, that we've been able to buck a trend, a national trend here in Houston. Our audiences have really stuck with us through the economic downturn. Our supporters have stuck with us, and they've liked our work, and we're in a position of expansion now, unlike, sadly, a lot of our sister companies who have maybe didn't react to the financial downturn quite as quickly as we did. So I'm very, very proud of that.
And your supporters, I mean, the community obviously.
They've really held with us. They've really held with us.
That's great. So I know that there have been cuts in education, particularly arts and music. Does that concern you at all as far as long-term interest support of the opera?
It does. It concerns me for the opera, but it also concerns me on a wider cultural level that children are not necessarily getting exposed to the arts in the way they have in past generations. So I think it is a big responsibility of the large arts companies to fill in that gap. I think we have to assume a mantle of education that in the past we've never had to do.
Sure.
And that's a very large part of our mission at Houston Grand Opera. We have an entire segment of our company called HGO that's devoted simply to educational activities through the arts, storytelling through music, which is essentially what opera is. We try not to define opera too narrowly, because that's part of the problem with the getting people to experience the arts, is that they have this narrow or cliched view of what we are. So we try to break that down.
That's
all the
great.
time.
Now, this is education towards children, probably any age?
Yes.
Now, how does that
all
work?
ages.
Are you going out into the community, into schools? Do people come to you?
We do both of those things. We do both of those things. And we have many educational programs on a number of scales. But we think that art and exposure to art at a young age is a civic duty, and that we assume that it behooves us as an arts company to fulfill that role if the schools can't.
What, just out of curiosity, Houston Grand Opera presentation would you recommend for someone going for the very first time?
I think going for the very first time, you should see one of the classic operas like La Traviata, like Tosca, like La Bohème. Our season, our 12-13 season, opens with a new production of Puccini's La Bohème. A very, very great work, very popular work, and a wonderful entrance into the art form. But also a work like Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein's Showboat that's in our winter season is a great entry into the field, because it kind of sits between the worlds of opera and musical theater. It was a sort of hybrid work itself, and that may well appeal to someone for whom Tristan and Isolde is just too daunting for a first-time goer, perhaps.
Interesting. So, Showboat, let's talk a little bit about that. Is that considered a musical? Kind of,
I think it's a work that sits between the genres. I'm not a person who polices the borders of what opera and musical theater is, but certainly Showboat is an important and iconic American work, and a very important work for us to do. It benefits greatly from a wonderful orchestra and chorus that we have here, and a great sort of operatic cast. So it's a grand work, certainly.
And that's coming next season?
That's next season.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, it was great talking with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great to be here.
Sure. To learn more about the opera, visit HoustonGrandOpera.org. For Comcast Newsmakers, I'm Michael Bybee.